The number one thing seems the committee wants is something you're passionate about. It's hard to be inspiring if you're not inspired.
Welcome to the Business Ownership Podcast, brought to you by Awareness Strategies, helping you navigate the waters between entrepreneurship and ownership. Hey there, peeps. This is Michelle Nedelec, and I am super glad that you're here with us today because I'm here with my most amazing guest, Frank. Frank, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Yay!
The fan goes crazy. So, peeps, just so you know, Frank is joining us from somewhere in the Caribbean, from an unknown, undisclosed location, and we're going to have a ton of fun with him anyways. So, give us an idea of who you are and a bit about your business.
Well, I am a speaker. I speak on suicide prevention as a workplace health and safety priority. I coach TEDx, and I have 8 TEDx Talks. No one on the planet, there's nobody else on the planet who has 8 TEDx Talks, although Bill Gates does have 8 TED Talks. So, and I'm a stand-up comic. I'm working the cruise ship somewhere between Nassau and Costa Maya, Mexico. Got 3 shows tonight, 7, 8:30, and 10.
So if you're available to fly down there. Awesome. So how did you get into comedy and, above all, suicide comedy?
Oh, well, I got into comedy in 1985, the day after Christmas. I decided to go pro. I said to my girlfriend, now my wife of 35 years, I'm going on the road to be a stand-up comedian. Do you want to come along for the ride? Figuring she'd go, oh, heck no. She goes, yeah. So we gave up our jobs in our apartment and we're on the road for 2,629 nights in a row, nonstop. And worked with Foxworthy and Ellen DeGeneres, Rosie and Steve Harvey and Adam Sandler, Kevin James, opened up for Lou Rawls, the Beach Boys, Neil Sedaka. It was a great time, great 7 years, and as I said, and change. Did a little radio after that. Got fired. 2 kinds of people in radio: people who've been fired, people who are going to be fired. And then I did corporate comedy after dinner, after lunch, the rubber chicken circuit, as they call it, for about 10 years. And then the last recession hit. Business dropped off 80% overnight, and we lost everything in a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. And that's when I learned what the barrel of my gun tasted like. Several years later, when meetings came back, meeting planner said, Frank, we love you. We can't pay you $5,000 for 45 minutes of funny anymore. You've got to teach the audience something. So I thought, well, you know what? Given my personal mental health history and near suicide, my family's history, more nuts in my family than in a squirrel turd, I thought if I can get some training in suicide prevention, I could keynote on that. So I got some suicide prevention training. Second hurdle, I've been a comedian 2.5 decades. Who's going to believe I can do anything serious? So I thought I'd get a TEDx talk. I applied for one and got my first one, spoiled. And then I got invited to 2 more after that. They said, do you have any more mental health topics? Oh, yes. So, and I applied for the next 4, and I just got invited. A TEDx in India found me on LinkedIn, liked my take on mental health, and booked me for my 8th TEDx talk. So I became the mental health comedian. That's my brand.
That is awesome. So now in your business, I know that you're doing more than the stand-up and the prevention, the keynotes. You're also doing facilitating and training, yes?
Yes, TEDx coaching. I got a program. It's 2 things. 1, TEDx coaching, and 2, speaker marketing mentoring. What I discovered is all of the other TEDx coaching companies, when they get you a TEDx, they're done. But most of my clients are speakers or want to be speakers. So I thought, well, I can't just drop them there. So we work on leveraging the TEDx, more bookings, higher fees, sell more books, raise money for your cause, whatever it happens to be.
I love that. So do most of the people that are in that, have they already been speakers, or do you take on people that have not spoke before and helping them with that?
Yes, I would say 2/3 are speakers who want to up their game, and the other 1/3 are speakers who want to launch their career with the TEDx. It's a great way to launch and also to brand.
What do you mean by that?
Well, the great thing about TEDx is it forces you to pick one idea, one topic. And I believe this, to succeed in speaking, and this is not an original idea. Jane Atkinson, a speaker success, wealthy speaker launcher, Jane Atkinson, said that you need to pick a lane. You need to become the expert, thought leader. And the idea being that if you pick a lane, and I chose suicide prevention speaking, and you select your ideal clients carefully, and I selected 6 occupations that have a high rate of suicide to market to, and just those 6, that sooner or later you're no longer a commodity in the speaking business on your topic. When they come looking for a speaker on your topic, they come looking for you. And it happened again last week. The Montana Hospital Association wanted a suicide prevention speaker. Somebody at the meeting must have said, "Is there a funny one?" And somebody Googled, and oh my God, there is a funny one. And they called the Speakers Bureau and asked them to track me down and book me. So that's the ideal. The long game is that they come looking for you. It's hard, Michelle, to get speakers to give up those other lanes to select the one lane. They feel like, if I'm not marketing those other speeches, I'm going to lose money. Well, I think short-term loss, granted, long-term gain. You become, like I said, a thought leader or expert in your field. So meeting planner, if I come to a website and you do a half a dozen things, and one of them is what I'm looking for, but if you do one thing, when you land on my mental health comedian website, it just screams suicide prevention speaker, period.
Nice. So when you're helping businesses brand and it becomes narrowing down that speech, that talk, what do you find other than people are afraid of losing their market? But what other things stop people from going, hey, this is my lane and this is what I'm going to do?
Well, the number one thing is the opportunity cost, giving up the other lanes, and worried about the income that they will lose because they are not marketing those. I think that's the biggest stumbling block. Is of course it takes a little while to figure out which they're most passionate about. Again, TEDx. The number one thing seems the committee wants is something you're passionate about. It's hard to be inspiring if you're not inspired. And people ask me, how did you choose suicide as a topic? Well, it's in my DNA. My family lives with generational depression and suicide. So my answer is I didn't pick suicide as a topic. Suicide picked me. And there are some of my clients who have something. I have a client who has narcolepsy, and she's got a book on it, a foundation on it. So it's obvious that's what she should be speaking on and doing her TEDx on. Some of them aren't quite so obvious, but most people have something they're most passionate about. Many people have several passions, but we wade through and we figure out which one they're actually most passionate about. And if it's marketable, A, to a TEDx, and B, is it a marketable, bookable topic on the corporate and association circuit?
Nice. And is there any way that they might be able to get an idea of that answer before they go to you?
Before they come to me, I would say they go to a website called espeakers.com, and type in your topic. Do a search for speakers on that topic and see if anybody comes up. And if nobody comes up, either A, you have found yourself a vacuum and you're going to be rich, or B, it's probably not marketable because nobody's speaking on it.
Very good point. And unless it's super topical that has just kind of come on the realm, I would think that's viable. And I also know that people that are considering that, if you have something that's leading edge and you're like, hey, I don't know if this would be the thing, absolutely go and talk to Frank because he's a wealth of experience and knowledge. So what are some of the stumbling blocks that somebody might be having right now? And they're thinking, oh my God, Frank, I need to talk to you so badly.
Well, one stumbling block is, to pitch yourself as a speaker, you're going to need a promotional toolkit. video being the biggest stumbling block. I don't have anything of me on video. Where am I going to get myself on video, either virtually nowadays or live stages? And so I have several sources where you can attend summits and they record it, so it's virtual, and do your keynote. There are stages live where you go. It might even get paid, but the video is the big stumbling block, and you don't need a ton of it. My sizzle reel is 4 minutes and 47 seconds, and it's little clips from probably half a dozen different venues. Nowadays, people have the what do you call it? The not the concentration, but the attention span of goldfish. So it's quick clips and music and graphics, and so you don't need a ton of video. You just need you on several stages in different outfits in front of several groups. And there are ways to get that, even virtually. Before the pandemic, if you said, look, all I've got is Zoom footage, people would go, really? What's Zoom? Nowadays, I've got a friend who can actually put you on stage in front of a stadium full of people. And it looks like you're actually speaking to a stadium full of people. It's magic. So then you have to have a website or a landing page. I said, look, have a speaker-only website. See, again, people want to put everything they do on the homepage on the website. Meeting planner comes there and sees all these wonderful things you do. You're not the person they're looking for because they want the expert. So either A, have a separate website for your speaking, period. Or B, cheaper, have a landing page. Michelle.com/speaking. Much cheaper, same site. It's been up for a while. It's gotten some traction already. Much easier to get the SEO. But you need a page that just says what the meeting planner is looking for. And on that page, here's what I'm going to teach your audience. Here's a summary of the speech. Here's some video of me in action. A one-pager, same idea. Picture, description of the speech, learning objectives, and a bio. So video, one-pager, bio, a headshot, the usual. But the video is a big stumbling block from my clients who are just beginning their speaking career. Getting them some video footage is the most difficult part. But there are ways to do that.
I love that. So give us an example of one of your Cinderella stories of one of your clients.
Let's see. I have a client who's a college admission counselor. And the way she got into that was she had 4 kids, and she got them all into Ivy League schools. And so other parents in her area found out about that, and they would buttonhole her at the grocery store. Hey, can you help my kid get into? So she decided she would do a TEDx on the importance of starting early with your child if you want to get them in a really good school. Because what would happen is these parents would drag this poor child in the 11th grade and say, I want him to go to Harvard. Well, we have like less than 2 years of school to polish this heap of junk up to make him look Harvard worthy. Matter of fact, I coined a phrase for her. They have helicopter parents and bulldozer parents, snowplow parents. I said, well, these are tow truck parents. They drag this wreck of a child in 11th grade and want you to do the auto body shop thing on it and make it look showroom fresh and send him to Harvard. So she did a talk on that, on the importance of and how you do it, how you get your kid into school, into a good school, not necessarily an Ivy, but the best school they can get into.
Yep.
And in 2021, it was one of the top 50 TEDx talks on YouTube. You have another client, something like a Renaissance man. He has a company called Cope Notes, COPENOTES, Cope Notes. It sends positive mental health messages to kids at random times during the month. It's a brilliant idea. He's also the lead singer in a metal band, heavy metal band called Prison. One of the entrepreneurs of the year in some survey they did last year. And he had 12,000 organic views on his TEDx, I think, in the first year. He has now 1.1 million. And it's a mental health talk. And he's doing very well in the speaking business because his bio begins, his first TED talk got 1.1. And he got invited to a second TED talk. He called me in a panic. Somebody dropped out of a TED talk near him. They heard about my client. Frank, I've got 3 weeks to prepare for this. So we nose the grindstone, and we got the second TEDx done so he could do it 3 weeks later.
Nice.
So I've got a client who's got 3 TEDx talks. I'd never seen anything like it. And what my people work with me, you don't have to pay extra for the second and third TEDx talk. We just work on it till you run out of idea.
Wow. That's amazing. So I know our listeners are going to want more from you. How did they start their journey with you?
YourTEDxCoach.com. And there's a button on there where you can, click the button and get a free half an hour of TEDx coaching. And talk about, does your idea worth spreading? Does it qualify? I had a young woman call me. I want to talk about customer service. Can't help you. What? I go, are you really that passionate about customer service? I can't sell that. I'm not going to take on a client whose idea I can't sell. I said, now, if you'd said to me, I want to talk about the power of empathy in customer service, now that I can sell. So, it can't just be a pedestrian, I'm big into customer service. It needs to be something you're really, really passionate. And here's the thing about TEDx. They love a good idea. They love a good idea with a great backstory, even better. So like America's Got Talent. If you watch carefully, a lot of their talent had an amazing backstory. Some guy went to prison, convicted wrongly, sang every day. His dream was to be on AGT. He was released and exonerated. And here he is tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And he's got great pipes. So they love a great talent, but they also love a great talent with a wonderful backstory.
I love that. So is there anything that I should be asking you about this whole arena that I haven't yet?
Yes, I have a PDF that I give away. I think you can find it on my site, called The 6 Things You Can Do to Kill Your Chances of Landing a TEDx. So in short, too much is the thing that kills most applications. Either too many ideas or too much about one idea. They don't want a thesis. Lack of creativity. Because they get a couple hundred applications, you need to be creative in whatever you put on that application. I've had 2 TEDx's where my title and subtitle were so good, they said you don't have to audition. You do not have to audition. So that told me that creativity, you have to get their attention first. It's a marketing pitch. Mm-hmm. And then not applying to enough TEDx's. People that come to me, they go, yeah, I applied 3 or 4 times, didn't get it, gave up. I had a young woman came to me, she was using another company. They had helped her apply 80 times, 80, nothing, no auditions, no callbacks, no TEDx. I said, well, can I look at your application? Can I work it over? And it was, all the I's were dotted, the T's were crossed. There was nothing wrong with it, but it just didn't sing. I mean, it just didn't, grab me. So I said, can I edit it? And I did. And she submitted 5 more times and got TEDx Beacon Street, Boston in 5 applications. Yeah. And that told me again that you've got to get their attention. They got a couple hundred applications,
Right. Absolutely. I love it. So at what point in life, Frank, did you know that you're a special kind of crazy enough to think that you could become an entrepreneur?
9th grade, I told a joke and the students laughed and the teacher was so hysterical, she excused herself to go to the teacher's lounge. And I thought to myself at that moment, I am going to be a stand-up comedian. 12th grade, I did the talent show. I won. Of course, I beat the accordion player and the folk dancers, but still, I won. And then my first night on stage at open mic on April 1st, 1984, halfway through my set, I heard this inside my head: you're home. Huh. And my second thought was, I'm going to do this for a living. I have no idea how. And Michelle, I think I told you, I thought about writing a keynote called, What Could You Do If You Didn't Know No Better? Because I had no idea how hard it was to make a full-time living doing stand-up comedy. If I'd known, I might not have, given it a shot. But I knew I was destined to be a comedian. My whole family's funny. And I just knew that in my heart, that's what I was. I guess I feel really fortunate that at 9 years old, I decided what I was going to do, because, most people kind of wander around through life trying to bump into whatever it is that, that they're, but yeah, I knew from an early age. The teacher I saw later, years later, I saw that teacher. She goes, Frank, you know why I went to the teacher's lounge? She goes, I was so hysterical. I was afraid I was going to laugh so hard in your face, it would break your heart. So I had to leave the room. I didn't want to crush your spirit. So
Like, as no ever comedian said, "Oh yeah, they laughed too hard at my jokes. It was awful."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Please stop. Don't.
So
No,
no.
no. Yeah, the reverse is actually true, Michelle. I've had shows where
There, peeps. Apparently, we have lost Frank in the Caribbean Ocean somewhere, but that's okay. He will resurface again on another show, I assure you. So I just wanted to take this time to say thank you so much for being here with us today. And we'd love it if you subscribe to the show and, of course, share with your friends. We love helping your businesses grow. Thank you for listening to our show. I'm all about being a resource center for entrepreneurs to give them the information and the support that they need to make it in business. As such, the notes for this show can be found at our website at awarenessstrategies.com/blog. Be sure to subscribe, give us a rating. I like 5 stars personally, and share with your friends.